welcome back. I am here with my friend Jay Alamar, who is director, and more importantly, or at least nobody will know that you prefer to be engineering fellow. I mean, listen, technical over the director stuff, I'll take that all day. Anyway, from our friends at Cohere, welcome, Jay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. So let's talk a little bit. I want you to talk a little bit about Cohere, and in particular, how you stand out in the AI market.
Incredible. So Cohere, we build large language models. We built models that we just rolled out, Command R and Command R+. They're purpose-built for the enterprise. So language models are doing some of the most interesting things in software these days. And they're enabling a new class of tools and systems that people are starting to build with, and enterprises need a lot of help and custom-built sort of models. So we offer that. We deploy it on Azure as well. So data security is very important there as well, because people want to have private deployments, and Azure makes that sort of incredible. So that's the sort of high level. And we'll go into a little bit of some of the other language models that we build that enable enterprises to have even better and better systems.
See, Jay's really good. He knows his target audience because he brought up the cybersecurity thing. Well done, Fred. We're here to talk about empowering your organization with production-ready RAG applications. RAG is
retrieval augmented generation.
That thing. It's
Yes.
Retrieval augmented generation. Yes, exactly. Talk to me a little bit about why RAG apps are.
I will. And I have a few visuals that sort of help people who are new to the.
Oh, very cool.
Sort of
teach me, because I have no idea.
Exactly. So you've come across what a language model is. It's a piece of software. You give it some text, it gives you text back. And people chat with it. We advise that people think of them as tools that can do multiple things, not as a black box that just secretly outputs text somehow. We say, you're a builder, you're a founder, you're an executive. Think about them as a lot of different tools. And for language models, it can be language understanding capabilities. It gives you a number of language understanding capabilities, but also language generation capabilities. Another way to look at it is to say, chat is one thing. It does a lot of other generation tasks.
Okay.
So text generation tasks can be like summarization. Here's an article, give me a summary of it. Or it can be, here's a contract, extract for me the names of the parties who are, let's say, mentioned here. So that's another generation task. So if you're an enterprise who wants to roll out a product with generative AI, it does not have to start with being a chatbot. It can be these other sort of generation tools.
Oh, okay.
And some of the most interesting and let's say robust and reliable things language models can do are not necessarily generative in nature. So these can be search systems that enable enterprises to access their internal. A lot of companies have 5 different databases and different systems and an ERP and a CRM there. And searching across all of them is difficult. And so language models enable that. And the retrieval augmented generation is this 2-step, let's say, process of search first and then generate and give me a text answer that is grounded on my information, on my company's sort of internal information.
Okay. Very cool. Having conversations, chatting with folks here,
Yeah.
And then my curiosity is, how do people improve on these, and what's kind of the advice as people are like, oh, we've kind of done the basics here, what can we do to go to the next level?
That's a great question. We're really excited about taking this to the next level and seeing how enterprises build these systems and then how they want to improve them after they take them to the next level. So if you think about the general structure of a retrieval augmented generation application, one way to look at it is like this. You have this chat happening, and the language model has access to a data source that it searches and pulls information from. It can be thought of as this as well. So it's the retrieval stage and then a generation stage, where you have a language model on both ends. For the search part, there are 2 kinds of language models that enable search systems to go beyond just keyword search, which is what people have done before language models. And then 2 ways here are embeddings. So that's one way to translate language into numeric representations that systems and software can understand better. And then the other one is re-ranking. And that dramatically improves search systems. So we've rolled out this model called Embed v3 that people can use on Azure as well, that enables and improves search systems for RAG as well. It supports over 100 languages. And then the re-ranker is another type of language model that if you have an existing search system and you want to have a language model that improves it, this is just one API call at the end of your existing system.
Okay.
That just dramatically improves the search quality. And you can see every kind of system improving.
Okay, I'm going to show my lack of knowledge in this area, and it's okay because the audience knows Joey's lack
We're
of
all
knowledge.
learning.
So you talk about these two different ways, right? You're using search, and then you're doing this creation. Can one feed the other? Like
That is exactly what happens. Yes.
Okay.
One feeds the other. So the search system gets the relevant document, and then it says, passes that in a prompt to the generation model. So it says, this is the question, answer it by looking at these documents.
Right. And then if that question was answered correctly and we like that, can we then feed that back to the other system to make it better, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, very good.
And
very
you
good.
can also use the generation model to create either summaries or, let's say, more. So the adding that re-ranker is one of maybe 5 ways we can talk about of improving RAG systems.
Hey, I picked up one.
So we can go over the next few.
Yeah, let's jump into it.
So now we have a system that looks like this, where there's a retrieval step powered by 2 language models, an embedding model and a re-ranker model, and then a generation which has a text generation model. So these are all, let's say, 3 classes of language models that enterprises should be thinking about how to use them in sort of their various systems.
Okay.
So re-ranker is one. That's one of the 5 ways to improve an existing RAG system. Another one is called a query rewriting. So when a company rolls out a system like this, they think that people will ask just one simple, clear question. But then somebody asks a question like this. They're like, we have an essay due tomorrow. We have to write about some animal. I love penguins. I could write about them. But I could also write about dolphins. Are they animals, for example? Yeah, let's do dolphins, for example. So if you take all of this and throw it at a search system, you'll probably not get a good result.
I think you just got a hold of one of my daughter's prompts right here. Yeah.
And that's exactly what companies have to build. And then how can you solve this? You can have the language model rewrite this to say, don't search for all of this text. No, search for only where do dolphins live. So that's another incredible thing that language models can do. This is called query rewriting.
Okay.
And this can go to let's say, a couple of other additional levels. So it can ask 2 questions. It can search, the search system can say, okay, if you give me a question like compare the financial results of some company for this year and then that year, maybe the system needs to search for 2 queries. And then here you have an idea called multi-query RAG systems, or multi-query retrieval augmented generation systems.
Okay.
These are 3. This is another way of looking at it. So you have your language model that's saying, okay, I'm going to search for this, I'm going to search for this, and goes to the data source, gets back all the information, and then generates the answer.
Gotcha. Yep.
A couple more one is called data source routing. So you can say, okay, if somebody asks questions about HR, search our Notion database. But if somebody asks about the results of the latest sports game, go search the web.
Yep.
And so that's another capability that Command R+ gives models, gives, let's say, systems that are built on this. You can say, these are 2 data sources, search this for these types of questions. And
in my organization, I have this tool for this group, this tool for this group, and it does that kind of traffic cop. You go here, go here.
Absolutely. And I really love that you use the word tool, because that's the future of where things are going. And but we'll get into it.
Stay tuned, more coming.
Incredible. The last one we can touch on, and this is the most sort of futuristic, advanced thing, which is the model can ask follow-up questions. So if you say, okay, if you ask a question like this, give me who are the largest car manufacturers, and do they each make EVs or not? You might not find one document that can answer this whole thing. So the model can break it down and say, okay, give me the names of the car manufacturers. Let's get this piece of information first, and then let's go and ask a query about each one of them. And so the model is able to ask follow-up questions, and then that's what's called multi-hop. And the models Command R and R+, which are deployable in Azure, sort of excel at all of these 5 use cases and make enterprises sort of able to deploy with these.
And these tools are available now, and
they're available
accessible now. Okay, very cool. Let's talk a little bit about, so we've got some good RAG stuff here.
Yes.
What about moving beyond retrieval augmented generation? I got that right?
Yes.
Perfect, all right.
That is perfect, yes, that is incredible. So we talked about a little bit of what is the most advanced things companies are doing out there, from starting with an LLM, adding data sources, and then doing this multi-step thing. You can ask a question, so if we can search Notion, why can't we even post to Notion? You said the word tools, and that's exactly what the future of RAG and the future of LLM applications is the language model is able to use tools, to use different software tools as well. Not just to retrieve information, but to post things, maybe send emails, do sort of additional things. And it's quite magical when you sort of start to see what these systems are able to do. And so here you have this new nature of the language model, not just as answering a question or giving you text back. It can actually do more. You can give it tools, the exact word that you said. So a web search is a tool. You can also give it a Python interpreter to run some code, for example. And then it's able to do a lot more advanced tasks. And instead of just giving you the result, it will say, to answer this question, I will actually, this is my plan. I will do these 3 things, and I will use these 3 steps to use them. Let's take an example. So if you can tell the system to create a plot of the number of full-time employees at the 3 tech companies with the highest market cap in the United States. So this is a complex retrieval and then plotting. And this is a text model. So how is it going to create a plot for you?
Yeah.
So the model here gives you the plan first, and then needs to search the web to get the relevant information. And then it has access to a Python tool, so it can plot with that using Matplotlib or Python's plotting tools.
So it's going to retrieve all of the information, pass it along to the tool to be interpreted.
Yes.
Right? And then output as well.
Exactly. And we can see that in action here in this.
I'd love to see it.
In this short clip. So this is the UI of Coral. You can use the tools here. So we give it the web search and the Python tool, and then we give it the request. So create the plot of the full-time employees, and then you start the model starting to hum. There you have the plan. So it says, I will search for the 3 companies, then I will search for the number of full-time employees, and then I will plot. And then now it's searching. So it outputs a search to a search engine. It gets back the information. It's Microsoft, Apple, and NVIDIA. These are the 3 companies. And then it goes and does a search for each of these 3 companies. Like, what is the number of their employees? So this is the multi-hop.
So multi-searches. It's do one, then do the next, then additional
steps. So it did these 4 now over 2 steps. And that includes this multi-query, but also multi-hop. It got the information back. It generated the code to plot it now. So it's doing all of these steps one by one, just to answer this one request. And while we're looking at the code, what it's doing in the background is actually plotting it. So it deploys it to the Python interpreter to get you that final sort of a graph and plot, and now it's outputting it to you. So I got the information, I generated the code, I ran the code, this is the plot that you have. And the incredible thing that we have is that this entire UI is open source. We just open source this web application that runs on top of these models. It's called the Cohere Toolkit. Our team has been polishing it for years and working on it. It's our own sort of playground, but developers have access to it now. It has over 2,000 stars on GitHub, and we invite people to play around with it.
Come in and participate and take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So super cool. So super cool. I can kind of see this, the examples that you've given me, kind of think, oh, I can kind of see this in maybe, something smaller that I'm doing. How do large enterprises take advantage of this? Like, what are some of those use cases that large enterprises can leverage this technology for?
That's a great question. So we talked about summarization is one, for example. So any company that has pipes of data, they can, or text data specifically, they can use these language models to do various tasks. So summarization is one, question answering is one. So you have a document, you present it to the model, and it answers questions. And a lot of people do that as consumers with one document, but enterprises can do that with 1,000 documents, 1,000,000 documents, and that saves a lot of time and helps these enterprises generate structured data from unstructured, long-form sort of text. And so chatbots for customer service is a popular use case. We have a company that's running on Azure, Atomic Work, that's building customer service tools built and enabled by Command R+ on Azure, that's enabling IT departments to problem solve and access internal forms and documents and fun.
Super cool. Jay, where do developers go to find out more information?
We have our featured partner page. I think that's a great place, but we also invite people to search for Cohere Toolkit to start building and forking and building their own sort of next generation tools of software tools built on top of large language models.
That's awesome. Get out there, get on that GitHub, start trying some of this stuff out, give that feedback, and of course, Always find more about Cohere and our other featured partners by hitting the featured partners page on build.microsoft.com.